Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bogey Proof. We got Matt and Mike on the line, and possibly some special appearances from Eric and Joey a little bit into this podcast recording. But Matt, where are you coming from, and what are you sipping on this Wednesday evening?
Yeah, so Connecticut per usual. And I actually just have some water tonight. Busy week of work this week, so working a little bit later after this and try to wrap some stuff up so I don't have to think about it this weekend while I try to play a little bit of golf. So sticking to water this week. How about yourself?
Yeah, dialing in here from Western Massachusetts. Last day in the homeland. Headed back to Chicago tomorrow. Um, it's been a nice little 6-7 day jaunt here. It was fun playing some golf this weekend with you, though we got rained out on Sunday. I think we could have ran down those leaders. But pleasantly surprised by our pro shop credit going to Franconia this morning. So that was nice to see. But
Mhm.
I am also I got a Diet Coke right now. So a
There you go.
questionable decision close to 8 o'clock at night when we're doing this recording, because I got to be up at 4 to catch this flight. But I'm gonna do a little work after this. I gotta fold my laundry. I gotta pack my bags. Like, I gotta have a little stretch of just being focused here, get all my shit done, then go to bed. And at this
Mhm.
point, I'm such a caffeine addict that, like, I don't think a can of Diet Coke is gonna affect my
Yeah,
life
it's not going to
even
change
in the
your.
slightly.
Yeah.
But yeah, super fun week of watching golf. When we weren't out there, Open Championship. Kind of just give me a couple quick hitters on this weekend, maybe kind of overall viewing experience for you, and then ultimately kind of your take on Morikawa getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I love Open Championships. It's just so fun to watch. It hits different at the wee hours of the morning, and just the whole atmosphere that they bring. With the announcers, with the accents, and like it just sets a whole different tone, I think, and it's just super fun to watch. Just a totally different layout that you never see any other time of year, just of a golf course in general. Just like the lay of the land and the way it looks, the way it plays, all that kind of stuff. It hits different, and I like thoroughly enjoyed like every second of it. I know the golf course wasn't probably as firm and fast as people would have liked for a link style. I mean, the layout was there, just due to the weather leading up to the event, it was just a little softer than they probably would have loved. But either way, I think at times they had like this really like low camera angles, like specifically Spieth Eagle on 7 on Sunday, right? Like they somehow got the camera to look like right behind the putter, and to see it go up, down, around, and kind of broke a couple different ways on its way to the hole. Like, give me more of that shit. Like that was so cool. And like you only see like that kind of hills, mounds, and all that kind of stuff at Open Championships, or like, I mean, not that the PGA Tour plays here, but a place like Bandon when I watched the USAM last year, like the really on the coast, like linksy, like just it's just I love it. I'm obsessed with that style of golf, and like got me fired up for a trip in a little less than a month now, or about a month exact, actually going to Ireland ourselves to play a little golf. So it got me fired up for that, and the leaderboard itself was awesome. Like I think in your top 10 you got DJ, Rom, Spieth, Morikawa, Louis, Berger, Scotty Scheffler, like all names, like just really good world class players, fun to watch players, stuff like that. And honestly, like I'm almost as impressed with Rom as I am with Morikawa. He looked like he was just frustrated and playing like shit all weekend. It never seemed like he made a putt, and he finished third. Like I know it's obviously not as impressive as Colin getting it done, but like it just shows, I think, how next level I think Rom is, and if he can hold it together slash sustain, with not having another major for 8 months, I mean, he's primed up to do some really impressive stuff the next few years. Although, I mean, we could see, DJ would have said the same at the end of last year too, and time off, in between majors and whatnot can really impact players differently. It's hard to sustain that when you're not grinding week to week, working on your game and trying to perform and playing, competitive golf. So there's definitely like a rust factor there that I hope Rahm can avoid, because I think he's really on the cusp of something pretty special. But Morikawa, man, 2 and 8 starts, and both times he won like bogey free 66s on that final Sunday. Like he even admitted it in his presser after, like he's not statistically the best putter on tour, but like this week I was, the best in the field. Like it's putting is a weird thing where some guys are just going to putt well no matter what, no matter where, like doesn't really matter. That's just like in their DNA. That's how they play golf. That's just kind of what they are. Like a guy like Jordan, when he's playing well, it doesn't matter where, right? But a guy like Morikawa, like it seems like he can be really, really bad some weeks, but he also, when he has a good week, he seems to capitalize on it. And that's what this week was. I mean, we've talked pretty endlessly, I think, this year of just how good of a ball striker he is. Probably the best iron player since Tiger in his prime. Just with the just repetitive, just high baby cuts. Just when he misses, he's off by 8 feet. Like he's never like holy shit, get lucky. Like it's always just like hang on to that edge or something. Like it's just his margin for error is just so freaking small from like 5 iron down. Like it's not like he's just a wedge guy. Like it's just really really impressive, and he made every putt he needed to kind of keep the chasers at bay. I think if he makes one bogey in that middle stretch, it's a whole different outcome come the final few holes. But he kept that buffer or that gap to 2 or 3 shots the whole way through, rather than letting it get to one or just having that kind of that momentum change of making a bogey, right? Like sometimes 10 footers for par feel better than, a 10 footer for birdie, right? Like there's just something about keeping that momentum going, maintaining that, if you're already under, staying under, not giving one back, like mindset wise, I think there's something there where those par putts he made in the very few instances he was kind of out of position, I think were just as important as the birdies he made on Sunday. And, ultimately he went out and got it. He not going in, but that was quickly reverted or switched around. And the second Colin got it, there's no chance he was giving it up. I mean, he was just relentless and dialed in. And when you strike it as good as he does, he doesn't have to work so hard to make pars, but he also still like kept his foot on the gas for the most part and made sure he was still trying to make birdies. I mean, obviously when you're in the lead of a major championship, you're not like, guns blazing at flags. There's some art to that, but he definitely, when he had his opportunities, he still took them. Like he wasn't just shying away and playing for par, which a lot of times you can play your way into bogeys when you try to do that. So just all around, love the Open in general. The leaderboard was really fun to watch. Spieth always moves the needle. Whenever he's in the mix, doing his shit, you can't not watch it. And Morikawa just world class, like impressive shit in your 8th major start to just he seemed unbothered the whole day. Like there's never a moment where he hit a shot and you're like, oh boy, like this could, like, he looks a little nervous, like holy shit, he hit that really fast, or like, anything like that. Like he was patient, just stuck to his routine, thorough, like through and through. And just like, there wasn't much doubt, I think, come like the back nine that, like Spieth would have had to shoot 7 under on the back to get him, kind of thing. Like it wasn't like, a birdie here or there changes things. I was like, Colin's going to shoot a couple under on this back nine too. And I don't really see him making any bogeys. So impressive stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely on par with what you had to say. I think what really got me was, Louis really struggled that first 7 holes right out of the gate. And Morikawa he wasn't his best. His best stretch was really the end of the back nine and then from then on really the last 12 holes. But really to kind of get up and down those first handfuls of holes when he was kind of fighting his swing a little bit, missed a couple, in kind of some wrong spots, honestly, and short side himself and hit the proper, pitch shot, hit the proper flop, whatever the case may be, got a par. And then when Louis pinged that one out of the bunker and ended up making the bogey, and Morikawa made easy birdie, and then birdies 8 and 9 as well, just to kind of flip that switch and be like, hey, this is my tournament, I'm taking this over. And then, like you're saying, just to be so clearly the best player on the grounds, really, that back nine, and just so unflappable. The putting stroke really impressed me. Kind of running down the leaderboard just a little bit. Spieth, I just feel like he got me feeling some type of way, like he was just going to make every putt out there. And it's an interesting dynamic, but I just felt like if he got the ball on the green, there was a really good chance that ball was going in the cup, which, Morikawa was really solid, but a couple of those I was still surprised. Like I was surprised when he poured that long one in on 9.
Yeah.
Right. So I think but I was never surprised when Spieth makes a double breaker.
Yeah.
You just feel like he's going to get it online. It's going to go in.
Yeah. There's definitely something to that. I think in the way they play and stuff like that, like when Spieth's like that, I feel the same way. It's like, just don't hit it off the earth, put it in and around the fairway and give yourself 20 feet or better. And I like your chances 80% of the time. I know that's not realistic, the number of what it is, but it feels like that when you're watching. And for stretches, he really does do that. But with Morikawa, it's more like, I know you're not going to hit it anywhere outside a 10-yard window, right? Like that's your miss. It's a 10-yard like tunnel. It feels like when he's just how solid he hits the ball. And it's like, when you hit it like that, you don't have to make everything. You just got to make a couple really important ones along the way to keep momentum. If you do get a little opposition, like you're saying on the front, or even I think on 14 or 15 on the back, you had a tester too, but like
15. Yeah.
it's when you watch him do stuff like that, it's like, how do you not do this just like every week? But he's spoken to it. He doesn't putt well everywhere. And when you start putting like shit, it's very easy to just like, fuck it, like it's very easy to get in a weird headspace when you're missing, like, you have good opportunities and you're missing them. So I think that obviously probably plays into why he doesn't win as really often as I think he should. He won twice this year, right? With the WGC at wherever that was, and then
concession,
and then this one, right? But feels like he's just got such a good game where it's like it's really hard for things to go wrong. And I think you see that. I mean, he makes a million cuts, right? So
yeah.
I think it's just if he gets the putter right, where he kind of syncs up the speeds to what he feels, and he kind of has a good week with starting him where he wants to start him, stuff like that. Like top fives are just going to be locked up, and it's just crazy to see that 2 and 8 starts is like first since like Ben Hogan and like these guys that were born in like 1905, like when you like the categories he's putting himself in now, it's just like insane. It's really impressive. And to get out this early, I mean, he did the full college tour. He didn't do a couple years and dip out. So he's 24. He was in college till 22. He didn't get out early like you see some other guys do. But it's just he's got a head start on a lot of people winning 2 and 8 starts, and
yeah,
a lot of talk of like experience turns to scar tissue, and like where's the line of it being useful versus almost getting in your own way, and like all that stuff. But all I know is
he's in a comfy spot. He's kind of in
never a bad time to win 2, right? Like it doesn't hurt, like there's never a bad time to win 1. So the fact that he's got 2 and really 8 starts is really, really impressive, and bodes well for kind of racking him up, because he doesn't have to be perfect. He's got with the way he plays golf, the style of golf he plays, like he's got 15 years of opportunities ahead of him. So be interesting to see kind of where that total ends up. I know there's a lot more to golf than just hitting the golf ball. There's a lot of mental stuff, and putting at the end of the day can really like play into that. But I mean, the future is bright with him and Rahm right now kind of being the top dogs, with JT and DJ like not far behind in my eyes. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if those are the exact bold rankings, but it'll be interesting to see these guys go head to head and duke it out come majors. Like Jordan's never going to go away at Augusta. He's always going to be contending there. It's going to be fun, I think, the next handful of years to see this kind of post Tiger era, like who's got the Tiger mentality come majors to like, if I get an opportunity, I'm going to get it. And Collins has done it twice now, but law of averages, he's not going to do it every time. So we got to see, how many times he'll be able to, him or like John Rahm, JT's got to start getting involved in majors again. I know he got one a few years ago, but we got a guy like Jordan or DJ or Brooks, like all these guys too that have been around for a little while now. Like the leader, like it's just, I think there's 10 to 15 guys that are just absolute dogs right now that can really go and get it. And it'll be awesome to see those kind of battles play out. Like honestly, Jordan and Colin head to head was such fun golf to watch, right? You have just iron shot after iron shot, just flagging stuff. And then like you're saying with Jordan on the greens, you're like, holy shit, how is this not going to go in? And like kind of the ever looming, like, is Colin going to miss a short one like he has all year? Like, when's that going to come in? And it never did. And like all that stuff. Like, I just love when you get those kind of back and forths in majors, and especially with two like elite players in the game that are, top 5 players in the world. I know Jordan's ranking doesn't reflect that, but in the last calendar year, he's probably been in that conversation. But
yeah, he's I think he's 14th in the world, maybe, or 13th. He's one ahead of Rory. So
wow. And he was
he's ahead of Rory.
far back. If you go a calendar year ago, Rory was probably like 4 and Jordan was like 100.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think golf in general is in a great place with kind of people outside the U.S. Obviously, Rahm being the number 1 player in the world right now, and anytime he tees it up, it's difficult to bet against him. Louis, obviously, obviously it's been a tough little stretch for him, but 3 top 3s in majors this year. Tough to kind of,
hurts.
That one hurts. And then even kind of like some guys on like the lower levels, like, Hovland's a top 15 player in the world, but like he's been unbelievably solid.
He's 23. He's young as shit.
Yeah. Like guy we talked about a little bit beginning of the week that wasn't getting a lot of love, that played decent at the US Open. Mackenzie Hughes, top 10 this week. Like Corey Connors. What'd you say?
Top 10 in both Opens this year for Mackenzie Hughes. Who had that one?
Corey Connors was hanging around until kind of, struggled out of the gates and struggled kind of limped in a little bit. But like 2 Canadians that are really strong. Like I don't think that, I don't think the international team has a shot at the President's Cup when they play at Royal Montreal here, not this year, but the following year. But like there's some other people that are going to be on that team. It's going to make it a little more interesting. Yeah, so super fun. Brooks Koepka figuring it out and being another top 10. Like, guy just back ends. If he's not in contention, he finds a way to shoot a low one on Sunday like he did. But I'm just looking forward to, like, who doesn't want to play with Colin Morikawa at the Ryder Cup this year?
Oh
how do you not want him as your partner?
Dude, you gotta, like he's gonna put you everywhere you want. You just hope he converts the good shots you hit. He's got to. I bet you. It's almost hard to pick somebody to play with because you want to give everybody an opportunity, right? To have that guy, someone that solid to go with,
Yeah, you kind of got to put him with like a DJ or someone who's like equally as talented as him.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think, right, you throw him with Spieth, like Spieth, is probably equally as talented, but in a completely different way. And I don't know if they just like don't mesh well or whatever the case may be, but I was kind of fooling around with who's going to make the team and what I would see for kind of some matchup for kind of some pairings, and is going to be a difficult task for Steve Stricker to pair these people together. I think he's going to be looking a lot. I think Tiger's already committed that if he's healthy, he's going to be there to help out. I hope they don't pick Phil for the Ryder Cup team. You can't. He's just not like if he does, someone's going to get left off, and the golfing world's going to be probably pretty pissed. But I think that's a discussion for a later date, and I think I'm going to have so much fun on that Thursday morning or Friday or Wednesday afternoon putting together my like who I think are going to be paired together for that, because that's just going to be an absolute blast. But yeah, awesome. Awesome week at the Open. Like you said, there's just the Open hits different a little bit. And looking forward to being over in Ireland here in a month to, get an experience of links golf. And I think we'll probably appreciate it even more once you get over there and have that experience. But let's do a little quick recap of kind of the majors overall. Quick shout out before we get into the 4 majors. The women are playing the last major of the year, the Evian Championship in France this week, their 5th one of the year. Kind of some backlash back and forth because not everybody is actually over there right now. I think that has a lot to do with the Olympics on the horizon and just the travel restrictions and all that going on. And, this golf course is not really, it's not one that the players have, they don't love it by any means. So I think there's people that are even kind of questioning, hey, like the field is pretty weak. Really, should this be a major? So interesting discussion on the women's front at the moment, kind of with the Evian Championship.
Yeah, it's just like they didn't give enough room between a major and the Olympics. Like and we've talked about this before too, but on the LPGA Tour, I mean, like, unless you're like elite, like, it's not like the most lucrative, thing in the world where, at least when you go to the Olympics, it's got a different ring to it, right? There's like some more pride, represent country, right? Like, you probably just a little more, you care a little bit more about it, where it's like, I don't know, like, what's me coming in 45th at the Evian do? Like, I'd rather get the experience of the Olympics, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that definitely plays a role, unfortunately, because, we'd love to see, we want the majors to bring out the best winners, right? That's what they're for, because they have such an impact on the history of the game. But you also totally understand why, some of the women have decided to take the Olympics on versus that. I think just, I mean, I get it,
Yeah.
like, the guys only have to choose between the 3M and the Olympics. Like, you're going to go to the Olympics if that, within your travel and your family situation, whatever, not like, if that makes sense for you, then you're going to go. But if there is a major, I think it'd be a whole different conversation on the men's side as well. They just had an extra week to figure it out or, adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Right. And we had people skipping the Open 2 weeks in front of
Right.
2 weeks in front of the Olympics. So what would have happened if it was 1 week ahead of it?
Yep.
I think I'm not, who knows? I just think it brings a whole, we don't know what would have happened. And I think we probably would have had some Americans not play in the Olympics just because the Open is so important and the opportunity to win the Open. And who knows, maybe we would have had some foreigners who are competing for their country, and due to kind of a weaker field over in the Olympics, there's a legitimate chance, for someone like Abe Answer to get a medal for Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
There's a legitimate chance for, Siwon Kim or,
Okay.
Sung Jae to get a medal. So I think there's just a few different things, and obviously everyone has their their pros and their cons. But I think moving for the LPGA on Olympics years probably needs to readjust a little bit. What's the difference between playing the Evian now and playing it the first week in August or the second week of August? Like, probably need to think a little bit about what works out in that case. Welcome, Joey. Joey,
What's up, boys?
thanks for joining us. We appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, just had to get some grub in me. You don't want a hungry Joey on here. So that's all
We
I'm gonna say.
appreciate that.
Yeah, but we just finished up a little recap of the Open and chatting a little bit Evian, and now we're hopping into a little bit of a majors recap. So kind of running down, obviously Open was last major of the year, and kind of wanted just to revisit 4 tournaments that really had 4 unique finishes, 4 unique winners, and really kind of had their own storylines. So
All I
think
want to say is I almost called it. I almost called it this time around.
You had essentially 2 picks because you just auto get Jordan, which we would have had to talk about if you won. But you had 2 guys in the top 3 and you couldn't get there.
I told you I felt good about Louis, man, but I mean, I don't want to keep talking about the Open if you guys talked about it, but yeah, I texted Spence and I had him throw $100 on Louis just to win it outright for me, and that backfired as soon as.
That must have hurt to watch. On
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I was happy to see Colin Morikawa, and that dude's a fucking stud and just stripes the ball like it's he's an animal. But
have you been working? Have you been working on your 3-yard cut on the range to patent your game after Morikawa?
No, I honestly should, because for whatever reason I just can't hit a draw right now, like, to save my life like I usually can. Yeah, I know, but I just got I don't know. We're not gonna get into that, but yeah, I could probably just switch a cut. Honestly, probably make my life a lot easier.
Yeah, but yeah, let's do a quick recap of the majors this year.
Let's rank them.
You want to rank them? You start us off then. Rank us and give us a reason why that's your number 1. That's all I got to say.
All right. I mean, I won't take it, even though it should be the answer, but I feel like Joey's going to take it. So I'll pass, but I'm going to go with, I think I'm going to go with the Open for number 1, recency bias. But like, I just think having won for the first time in a couple of years, it hit different, like we talked about earlier. And I don't think this is the last time we see Colin contending in major championships. His game travels literally everywhere. Like you can hit a 3-yard cut anywhere on the earth and it's going to work out. Especially when you hit it in like a 10-foot circle. So I'm going to say that this is going to be like one that, leads to many more for him. And then I'll go Phil second, even though I feel like Phil should have been first, but I'll let one of you guys kind of take that one. Oldest major champion ever. Kiowa was really fun to watch, kind of different vibe for a PGA that I feel like it needed, just because it was starting to get a little bit of a copycat syndrome, trying to match up with Open Championship vibes and stuff like that. US Open vibes. So I enjoyed the Kiowa, and then I'm going to go Hideki 3 because of it's Augusta and like the impact I think that might have like globally, right? Like he is a international, like in Japan, like he is everything, right? Like he is a absolute superstar. Like you have to close restaurants for him to go to him in Japan kind of thing. So like, I think the impact that has for the game of golf as a whole, like the international impact is like super impressive. And he's also like, he's been super, super good for a very long time. And for him to finally fight the putter off long enough on it for a week and get it done, like at that level, like it seems like he should have had one already kind of deal with how good he hits the ball and strikes his way around golf courses for as long as he has. So I love seeing him, and like the moment with the caddy on 18, like that's going to be remembered for a long time. Like that was really cool. And then unfortunately Rahm's going to clean up hitting 4 for me. And it's really only because I think it won't be the last time he wins. Like I think we'll get a better one out of him. Like, yes, it was cool to see him win his first, but again, it was just more of like Louis felt like he kind of let that one slide. And like, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't love Torrey. Like it just made it like, you saw the same thing every hole, right? Like really small fairway, long par 4. Let's see who hits the fairway. Okay. Now they can be aggressive or whatever. And like, I don't know. It's more, I'm going to give that one, I'm blaming that one on the golf course, clean it up last. But historic year in general, though, for the majors. To have John Rahm being my last pick, and he's, that's his first. And I think he's a guy like Morikawa, too, that's going to be very involved in majors the next 5 years. I think they're all really, really, really good. There wasn't any duds by any means this year from my account. But, Joey, what do you got?
No, I agree. It was a very good year for majors this year. And, when you were talking, I was like thinking like, who the hell won the Masters? Like, I feel like it was forever ago. And as soon as you said like Hideki, I was just like, yeah, like that kind of just shot up on my list. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to rank these, but obviously you alluded to me probably picking Phil first just because I love Phil. The only so the thing I'll say, like, the Masters I watched, I got to luckily watch a lot of, but like as far as a PGA and the US Open, like I really didn't get to watch any of them. And that was like kind of the nice thing about the Open, like, because I'm like there at work, and luckily it was raining here, so it was very quiet. So I got to watch a good deal of it at least while I was at work. So it was a fun tournament to watch. And that, that makes me want to put it up a little bit higher, but I think I'd probably go PGA, then the Masters, just because, like you were saying with Hideki, it's such a good situation for him. It was like he probably should have already had at least one major by then. And, seriously, like the caddy at the end, like that just, I don't know, just something about it just hit, it made me respect that a lot more and made me a lot more like happy that he won. And it was because of his caddy. So I'll go Masters 2, the Open 3, as I honestly put that at a really good tie, very similar to the Masters, I would say, this year. Mm-hmm. If Louis won, it would be number 1 for me right now. Sorry. And then, yes, I completely agree with you on the US Open. Like, John Rahm, he's going to win a bunch more. Like it was, like came full circle for him at that course, everything like that. But, like you said, it's Torrey Pines. It's a course we've seen so often, I guess, and it's not like it's we see the Masters every year, but when you see a course like 2 times a year as well, it's just I don't know. I mean, I'm dying to play there one day, but I don't like. I feel like they compare Bethpage and Torrey Pines, and I mean, obviously, I'm going to take Bethpage over it any day. But I've also never played Torrey Pines.
I think part of that is what you're saying, right? Like we only see Bethpage if it's a major, like so
Exactly.
it's like at least there's a little bit of an allure to it or whatever. I know it's also a public track and whatever, but like they don't play it every fucking March. Like we see Torrey every March, and it's like they didn't. And I think even more point, they didn't change anything either for the U.S. Open. So it's like. Yeah, I think that's what that gets at.
No, exactly. So yeah, I would say that's my 4.
Joey, what are you sipping on here now that we got your 4? Because I saw
I meant to say
special.
that. So it's a little Tanqueray and gin and soda, but like it's an orange flavor. Yeah, not bad. They have just a regular gin and tonic. Peyton and I got these, so yeah, they're pretty good.
Little can cocktail.
Yeah, a little can cocktail. The orange is a little. I liked it at first. Second time around, not as delicious, but we're battling.
Yeah. So as far as my top 4 go, and I'll start kind of from the bottom. I agree with you guys. The U.S. Open, in a year of kind of unheralded majors, really kind of fell flat for me as compared to the other ones. Most certainly, it's my 4th favorite of the year. Louis kind of knocking it down the stretch, and John Rahm, great, obviously 2 putts on 17 and 18, but just I don't remember a whole lot from that week, and that's kind of what's making me put it that low on my list. I don't really, outside of Rahm making those 2 left to righters on 17 and 18, I don't remember too much. Maybe a couple bad swings. I remember JT hitting one over the fence on 10. But nothing too much besides that. And then I will go, I think, and not to sound redundant, but I truly feel that the Open Championship and the Masters are on par together. Just kind of like Joey said, I think Morikawa's dominance and kind of the quality of the surrounding leaderboard and the people below him, that was probably the best played major of the entire year. As far as quality of golf, interesting golf course, it hit a little different because we hadn't seen one in 2 years. If I had to pick one that I want to see over again, as just far as like watching every shot, I probably pick the Open. I think that would probably be my choice. The Masters was epic, just with Hideki getting it done. Augusta's a special place, and I think anytime that you see history made at a place like Augusta, it just goes a little bit beyond. Even DJ, getting the scoring record there, like it's just held in a little bit higher tier and regard because it's Augusta National and so much has happened there, and we go every single year in it, and it's such a special place, and people are so candid about how special it is. I think when something as historic as Hideki winning for Japan, the first major champion from Japan, and kind of to what you alluded to, Fontaine, like he's a different person. Like him to us is way different than what he's seen in his home country. And I think we got a peek of how important he is to that part of the world, and how important he is to the country of Japan. So excited to kind of watch the Olympics, where obviously he's going to be the home guy, and kind of what that looks like. And we'll get a little more perspective on what golf in Japan and I'm sure his major and his Masters win has continued to heighten the game of golf. And then just on like an overall chills factor, I got to go Phil with the PGA being number 1. That crowd following him on 18 to win that is just like, that is what is ingrained in my mind of the last, when I think of kind of high level golf for a while, it was Tiger coming down the 18th at the Tour Championship, and that just gave me such the same vibes. And I feel like, Phil, as universally, as ridiculous as he is, he's universally loved, and he's going to go down as a top 10 or top 15 player of all time a top 5 player of our generation, as far as, the people that we grew up watching. We got a couple studs, close behind that could, possibly pass him, but you don't see someone win as many majors, have as many runner ups, and really be involved in winning PGA tournaments for 30 plus years. Yeah. When he won as an amateur and he won a major after he was 50, that is wild. Like, he has just transcended our entire lives and longer, right? All of us being
longevity is insane.
25, 26, and he was winning golf tournaments before we were born, and he just won a major championship. So I think just kind of the chills factor puts that over kind of those other ones for sure. The Ocean course I thought was cool. It's one of those places that I think I would love to play. I'm not like, I don't need them to go back
to play there, but I want to,
yeah, I think it would be cool. I just would get my teeth kicked in, and I'm not I'm not itching for them to go they back. Can't host the US Open there.
No.
I don't know, and I don't know if it really has. You can't really host a normal PGA Tour event there, so we're probably going to see it in another 8 or 10 years again. So
yeah, I'm fine with that though. I think it's nice to mix it up and because the PGA it's got identity problems, right? It can't decide how it wants to fit in, right? They all have their own kind of identity as a major, right? The Open with the playing the ball on the ground and the wind and the elements. Augusta is Augusta, obviously, right? The greens, the undulation, the sloped fairways, all that shit. US Open kicks your ass from beginning to start. Long, rough, small fairways, firm, fast, small greens, etc. And the PGA, I feel like, has just been bouncing around. You got from Erin Hills, they played it at Bethpage, they played it, at Belle Reve, right? They're just all over the place. And if you're gonna do that, at least do something that's not copying another one, right? Just do something totally weird, which I feel like that's what Kiowa was this year, is a total what the hell is this place? Which I don't know, kind of appreciate it. Let's do something different, that's I think the reason why Torrey sucked for me is I'm not excited to learn about a new place or see some new holes or see some different shots. I could just watch the Farmers every year, it's.
I don't dislike the lack of identity in the PGA. I think that's okay. I know you're searching for a little bit of an identity, and they're doing that by building this compound down in Frisco. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why can't we host the PGA out in the Pacific Northwest somewhere? I think Chambers Bay is a great place for a PGA. I think, right, they've played a PGA at Sahalee before. At Sahalee before, in the trees. Let's host a PGA in the desert. I don't know. Yeah. I just, there's a lot of great golf courses in New England and in the Midwest to host the PGA. So
they need to do more tournaments up here, I would say. Honestly, they really do. Continue, Mike.
No, I don't. I mean, there's so many great golf courses on Long Island. You could have a ton of PGAs at some of these. And I mean, I get it. Some of these private places don't want to have it, but I don't know. I don't mind the lack of identity. It is in kind of a flux place where they're trying to find an identity, and they either need to decide, hey, we're just going to go nuts and pick some random places.
I'm fine with them going rogue. Just don't do the copycat thing. Bethpage is not a PGA Championship course. That's the one that stands out for me. That's a US Open venue. Yep. It's the rough, it's hit fairways, it's small greens, it's all, it's all that. I'm okay with them not having an identity as long as they choose to just do whatever the fuck they want and go weird, get weird with it almost, I'm all for that. That's why I liked Kiowa. It's try these weird places, mix it up every year, go to totally different. So it's not just cookie cutter, or maybe that's the wrong phrase, but not similar to something we see already in one of the other venues, which is like you said, let's go to the desert next year. I don't know. Let's do something weird, or get somewhere in New England that we don't see via the US Open or anything else. I'm all for that.
Joey, let's get a PGA in Nebraska. That's all I gotta say.
Bro, some dude came in to play today. He was a PGA guy or something like that. I don't know. I forget what club he was at, but he was talking, and he had a Sand Hill shirt on. I was just like, bro, you don't know how bad I want to play there. Imagine an event there. You can't say there's not enough land out there. There absolutely is enough land out there. This conversation though about the PGA, I mean, Mikey, I think think me and you, we were on, just me and you episode, and we were kind of talking about it. And I think something I said, I think like the PGA should do, we're, always hosting it at a public course that's always like accessible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I know Fontaine, you were just kind of saying you don't like the idea of Bethpage, but like if that's what they're gonna go with, then like I feel like it's kind of okay. Like I get what you're saying. It's more of a US Open course, but if their idea is to do public courses, right? It's getting to show the world, right? All the different type of public courses that are out in the country and whatever it may be. So that's something I always thought would be really cool for the PGA to do. And I honestly, I mean, I've heard, there's always been talks of it going back to like match play. And I don't think I don't hate it. I don't love it, but like, I think they should try it out. I think it'd be cool. Like Jordan,
weird.
That's what they could do. But yeah, I'm all about the public courses. I think that would be the best idea. And they're definitely accessible. Like think of all the resort courses. Like Stream Song could definitely do something like that. I mean, would they? I don't know. I'm trying to. It's a tough course, but it's not like uberly long. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think they should do. It makes the most sense in my mind.
I love that, Joey, and I think there's an opportunity to maybe, I think the PGA is most clearly connected with the community and kind of all those things. Like it just most ingrained with kind of that aspect. USGA is kind of right, got your nose up a little bit. Like you're going to go to the best private courses all over the country and host your events, and that's okay, and that's what the US Open is. But I really think there's probably an opportunity, like you're saying, like the PGA, hey, let's make a commitment to the New York area, and we're going to host a PGA at Bethpage, and then we're going to, support other events or whatever the case may be, right? They have the event at the Houston. They played the Houston Open this year at a public course downtown. Great reviews, played really hard, good winner in Carlos Ortiz and a really good field. I don't know. I think we'd probably have to get a little creative, and we'd have to be okay with missing a couple times, but I think that's okay. Right? Like we have to be willing to go to some different areas and go to like, a Denver metropolitan area and play at a public course and kind of see what that looks like. Go to Los Angeles and play at a public course there or whatever the case may be. And I think there's an opportunity to have a really cool kind of environment and a really ingrained area and kind of bring that community aspect. And I don't know, I just think there's an angle that needs to be taken from the PGA to kind of solidify, its place. Cause right now it is clearly the number 4 major, and that's a tough spot to be. It's just a tough spot to be. And I don't know what they can do to move up, but I think a little bit of, additional marketing and kind of readjusting the strategy is definitely need.
Because if you give it, you give it that angle, right, of being the public course, right, the people's open almost, right, you turn it into something along those lines, it at least gives you a narrative going into every week and like a storyline that you don't have to fabricate out of like, like it just gives it a little bit more of at least a story where, yes, like you said, like you might not get awesome public courses every year. You're going to have to kind of figure out which ones work and which ones don't. But I think that's part of the fun too, is you might find something new that provides just an awesome experience for a major championship that we haven't seen before, because it seems like they just regurgitate past or used ones that are used in other events. Like unfortunately, I think they've already built their schedule out for 2029 or something stupid like that, which is dumb, I think, because like you're so far committed already. Like even if you bring new people in, you can't change anything till 2030. It just seems crazy and like wild saying that number out loud actually. But like they're going to Quill Hollow in there. It's like, what, do we need that again? Like we see it every, it's like another one of those, just, I don't know. But I agree. I think that's a really cool angle to take that, like, it seems to make a lot of sense in our mind. I'm sure there's logistical shit that is a reason why it hasn't happened, but like, go for it. I mean, you gotta find a way to get out of that 4th hole.
Here's like you were saying,
like it's interesting, but
So right. So like Pebble Beach, does that mean that, like obviously that's more of a US Open venue, but that's technically public, right? So that could
well, yeah, and I think if you take that on as like you're the public course major, you know, I think that changes your view going into a place that you've already seen before, you know, like
exactly.
Like, I think that just changes your perspective, right? I think that makes, like you said earlier, like that makes Bethpage make a little bit more sense or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it just like it'll give you it will, rather than when you go there without that being your story, you just seem like you're pulling from the others. Where if your story is public golf courses, then now like it doesn't give off that vibe, and like now it's your storyline because you're representing the public course, the city or town or whatever you're in. Like you're representing that city and like being the people's, public open.
Yeah.
I think you just gotta, like Mike said, a little rebrand, a little marketing kind of adjustment. And I think that changes the tone around a lot of the PGA championships.
Now, I don't know how true this is, but
God, where are we going with this?
No. So a little inside the PGA, I guess, if you want to say, but like, when I was at it was Seminar 1, and it was like right kind of when PGA Frisco was like starting to be built and everything. But I heard from a couple different people that like the idea for PGA Frisco would be that the PGA Championship would be held there every year at that golf course. And I heard that and I was just like, I really hope they don't do that. Like Augusta is the only major that I want at the same golf course every year. But with that being said, maybe they are starting to, do a rebranding, and maybe that's what they have planned for the future, after that 2029, whatever year that goes through, right? So I don't know, maybe there's something on the way. Like I said, I don't know how true that is, but I could see that happening at the same time though.
So it's funny you say that because I just looked up like the PGA Championship schedule. PGA Frisco's the 109th, which is 2026, I think, because the 104th is next year, so it's 2021. So 2024, I think, is for PGA Frisco, and then they go back there in 6 years. They've already signed up to go back to it.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty quick for most PGAs to like repeat. But just to go down the list, they have Southern Hills, Oak Hill, Valhalla again, then Quail Hollow, Aronimink, PGA Frisco, the Olympic Club, Baltusrol, TBD for the 112th in 2030. I don't know what goes on there. And then Congressional, and then Frisco in 2034.
There's been some moving around because I think we might have had a PGA at Trump.
Oh yeah,
up somewhere.
That is true.
Yeah, it's definitely what
so because that's happening with like a US Junior too coming up. They had to readjust real quick.
So yeah, PGA Frisco makes its debut in 2027.
I think it's like expected to open. I mean, it's soon. I want to say.
Yeah, they got to give time for the course to grow in.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, now that I say this, I don't hate like the next 3 venues. Like Southern Hills, I think it was pretty good when they had it there in like 06 or whatever. I feel like that was a decent. I mean, I don't remember watching that tournament, but like Oak Hill, New York, Valhalla, I think does pretty good in the PGA. Brings at least a good finish, right, with Tiger and Bob May, and then Rory winning his. I hate Quail Hollow in there. I hate that a PGA Tour event course just gets a major. I just think it's dumb because they're going to play it that year too. Like
No, well, so that's actually interesting because when the last time the PGA was at Quail Hollow, they played Wells Fargo at a different site.
No, did they? Oh.
So they went to Wilmington and played at a different site. So, I don't know why that was the case. I think maybe they had to do some restorations or something on the golf course, but I appreciated that.
Yeah, to not see it twice. Yeah, I agree. I appreciate that too.
And they kind of let it bake. They kind of let it bake out for the actual PGA.
Yeah, so I think Quail Hollow is like hosting a Ryder Cup too.
It is.
Yeah, so like that's too much Quail Hollow. I know that like I don't know. I don't need that much.
Jesus Christ, that's bananas.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting that goes, but there's definitely a need for a little bit of a rebrand. As long as we don't see them just like go to all TPC courses or something like that.
Oh God, I would hate that. That would be the worst.
I mean, there's some pretty cool TPC courses out there though that you don't even know about.
You want them to play?
Win every week.
You want them to play TPC Twin Cities like they're playing this week for the 3M?
Hell yeah. TPC Schenectady, baby.
Yeah, but kind of just quickly transitioning into this week's tournament, I think we kind of determined we're not going to talk too much about it. We're not going to do any picks, but 3M championship, third time that they're playing this tournament, Minneapolis area, TPC Twin Cities. Interesting golf course, not your normal TPC, just because it's got some length and some space in some areas that really require some good mid and long iron play. So I'm not going to probably watch too much this week, but I'll definitely keep an eye on the leaderboard, and it'll be interesting to see who kind of rises to the top. And then we'll kind of follow the storylines as they go too. Obviously, it's only been played twice, and we've got two different winners, right? We had Matt Wolf get it done against Morikawa in a playoff here. They beat DeChambeau down the stretch too. So first time it was played, right, we had a bunch of studs. Then Michael Thompson won last year and held off Tony Finau and a couple other guys too. So really don't know where it's going to go. I think that has to do with, the golf course not being played a whole lot of times, and you really can't have a horse for the course when, it's only been, we've only had 2 events here. So, maybe another 5 or 10 years, we'll have a little better idea of, what type of player.
The Rat is playing, boys.
The Rat?
Yeah, I got to shoot him a DM.
So
I saw a video on Twitter of today of him explaining a tie spinner again. You guys ever see that chip shot?
Yeah, when he fucking just
basically
throws it so hard at the ground.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye out to see how he does, and maybe our thoughts on this week's 3M will change if the barn rat gets a low one on Thursday or Friday. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. We'll have the notifications on
turn into appointment television.
Yeah, the Kiradek tracker on Twitter. If they don't have one, they need one.
Have to start one.
So yeah, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I guess one of those tournaments that probably just hasn't been around long enough for us to have too much insight on it. Decent field actually this week. Louis playing, DJ's playing, Brooks is playing. Very surprised that Louis in the field. Really, honestly, thought the man probably needs to take a couple weeks off here. But I don't know. That kind of threw me for a loop. Do you like Louis this week, Fontaine, Joey? Like, what's your thoughts?
I could see him playing steady Eddie. Normal Louis golf. Maybe a little top 10 action, nothing closer.
So I say he's destined for like T8 after leading after Thursday. You named a few guys, but I think out of the other guys you named, Brooks, Koepka, and DJ, if they don't shoot 66 on Thursday, they're going home Friday night. They're they're not going to grind it out and stick around to make a cut. Where I think, Louis probably got a little more steady of a game where he's not going to have to work that hard to be in the mix. I don't know. I think, is 3M a big sponsor for personally guys, or is it more of a brand thing where they got to because I'm surprised with the strength of the field this week, just given you're coming from overseas, it's
I don't know. I think a lot of tour events that are played at TPC golf courses have different levels of connections and different levels of sponsorships. So I think that has to play a little bit into it. I am surprised with how strong the field is, though. I think we're getting some guys that aren't playing in the Olympics next week. So
I'm pumped for that, by the way. I like the Olympics.
Yeah.
Olympic golf is fun.
I really don't remember watching it all when Rose won, but given where we're at and the guys from the US that are going,
I hope Colin Morikawa honestly wins gold. I think that would be the coolest thing ever for him. And I really think it's possible. I don't know the course they're playing or anything.
Yeah.
But we got some primetime golf, and who doesn't love that? So.
Exactly. I'm all for it. I think it'll be fun to watch. We got enough guys. We got big name guys. I forget who went for US besides. I know Ricky went.
Kuchar.
Kuchar, right? But I don't know. Kuchar doesn't move the needle for me. But you got JT.
How do you not like Kuchar?
JT, Bright, and not that I don't like him. I just
what was that?
JT, 20? Bryson, Xander, and Morikawa are fucking studs. You know what I'm saying? Those are 4 of the top 10 guys in the world, versus Kuchar and Ricky are more that second tier, they're top 30 guys in the world when they were there, but like, we're not, I mean, Ricky's a personality, but
I'm going to take some credit for Kuchar winning bronze that week. I saw him, we went to the Travelers and I saw him at a restaurant one night that week. And I shook his hand and I said, "Good luck in the Olympics." And then he won bronze. So
that's awesome.
Did you get any retrospect?
Retro pay? Basically won America a bronze medal in 2016. I'm happy for you.
I feel like you should get a little payback or a little something.
Honestly. So let's see, 2016, Bubba Watson, Ricky Fowler, Patrick Reed, and Kuchar.
Yeah, I mean
2012, right?
2016.
2016. Oh yeah, 2016 was Rio. Jeez.
Yeah, because I did a project in Kurt Hamakawa's class for golf. Dude, I nailed it.
Shout out.
People actually enjoyed it. They were right. Believe that. They enjoyed my work. Didn't see that one coming.
Come on, everybody loves to talk a little golf.
That was your kickstart into the golf industry right there, Joey.
Yeah, that really was. I mean, honestly, WNE, man, that's going into sophomore year. That's when it all started.
Wow.
206 Lot Riv driving range, open for business, baby. I don't even know if we were room 206, honestly. I think we were, but I don't know.
You were.
Were we?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I nailed that, huh? Let's go. Kid still got it.
I used to just yell in the window as I was walking in and be like, "Joey, open the door." Because they'd all be at baseball.
Oh, I miss those days, man. La Riv, what a time. Good time. There's one other thing I wanted to say. I forget though.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up here on the close, but we wanted to just highlight a couple of ridiculous stats from this week, from this year on the PGA Tour, and just like how much cash is running around. And please, for our listeners out there, slide into our DMs if these numbers are wrong, because I don't know about ESPN.com.
Spot check a couple, they didn't look great.
They need some audit. They need some auditing here. So please, like, if these dollar figures sound a little off, complain to us and we'll send in our grievances to ESPN.com about these PGA Tour statistics. But kind of just wanted to highlight first too how good the under 30 crop is right now on the PGA Tour. Morikawa, Jon Rahm, Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland, Cam Smith, Scotty Scheffler, Hideki, Sam Burns, Daniel Berger. Like,
a lot of good golf in our future.
It is crazy. And I don't know, we are just kind of beginning.
Yeah, it's like you said, Joe, like a lot of good golf to be played in the future. Like, I hope one way or another, like 3 or 4 of them just really solidify themselves, and it becomes like I loved watching Colin and Jordan kind of duke it out. Like I need more of that.
Got a little playoff with them.
Yeah, like I want some more of that in majors. Like because there's the depth is there, right? Like we just listed off like 12 guys, but like 6 of those guys are like elite or have the ability to get to that level where it's like, give me some back nine on Sunday dueling it out between Jordan and Colin again, or Jon Rahm and Colin, or DJ and Colin, Brooks. I know those guys aren't the under 28, but like, let's see this under 28 crop challenge kind of that low 30s of Rory, DJ, Brooks, guys that have been there before in those majors. Like I would love to just see that kind of like become a thing over the next, handful of years. And like to get back to some of the stats, like Mikey was starting to get to, like at the top of the money list this year, obviously with winning a major recently and winning a WGC too. Colin is in the lead at 6.95 mil. We'll round that up to 7. Jon Rahm, 6.8. Like you get down to like 40th on the list and we're at Sergio with 2.5 mil. So money could be made on the PGA Tour. It's disgusting, to be honest.
I saw a tweet today. It was like Jon Rahm's made more money than Lee Trevino did, like in his.
Yes, I saw that too. Lee Trevino's whole career, which had 6 majors, I think,
and like 29 wins. Something.
Yeah, Jon Rahm made more this year.
That's nuts, man. That is absolutely nuts. Here's a take. This is what I was gonna say. I think here's my take. I love him. I do. But I don't think Rory ever wins another major.
I agree.
I think he's done with majors. He'll win more tournaments.
He needs a rock bottom. He needs a reason to like have to do it again. You know, I think life's just too easy for him. Like why? Like I don't need to go practice for 6 hours. I still made 150 grand this week just from the tournament. Never mind my sponsors and everything like that, and all the media shit I did, all the sponsor events I did. Like I'm good. You know, like why? I already did it. I've shown that I can do it. Like yeah, it's frustrating. You know, not winning, but like. Life's not all that bad.
Top
you know,
10,
like
couple hundred thousand. I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, that has nothing to do with the probably hundreds of millions he already has in the bank from everything else he's already done, right? Like, I just think, you know, DJ kind of had a later resurgence, right? Like he really was good the last 5 years, so like 30 to 37 or whatever he is now. Like, and I think that was because he never got that major when he was younger, but he was so good. And he said, you know what? Fuck you guys. Like, I'm gonna go figure out my fucking wedges, and now my wedges are inside 5 feet from inside 140 and in. Now who cares how I putt? It doesn't matter, you know. Like, and he had close calls in majors before Oakmont and stuff like that too. So I think he had like a monkey on his back, and I just don't think Rory has one to really push him. Like I think Spieth had it, and he got so bad the last couple of years that he needed to find it kind of within himself that he can do it again. So I think that's kind of what pulled him back up. Like Rory doesn't have a reason to get, you know, like I don't know. I'm speaking for him, obviously, but like, I feel like there's no
guy before this or something.
Like, if you look objectively at what Rory McIlroy's life, he just had a kid. Like, he's still 14th in the world. It's not like he's 150th. Like, he won this year too. Like, you know, like, like he's
3.7 million.
Made 3.7 mil this year. And you're gonna tell me I need to work harder and go, you know, add another 20 hours of practice to my schedule? Like, I'm gonna go spend time with my kid, you know, like I just feel like he needs to have, like Tiger always talked about when, you know, when his recent comeback, he's like, I want to prove to my kids I'm not a YouTube golfer, right? So he's got that. I mean, Tiger's also a psychopath, right? Like, and so is Phil too, where like they are just such lunatics about golf that they don't need anything to really push them to want to be perfect at it. Where I think Rory's like, dude, I'm still fucking good. I'm just like not like we mentioned it on the Gambling Lab this week. Like in 2014, there was an interview of him after he won 2 PGAs and a Bridgestone, like and a WGC and like 2 majors, PGA and the Open. Like he's like, I played golf every single day this year. Like that's all I did was golf. It's like he doesn't do that anymore. You know, I just don't think he. And again, I'm speaking for him and saying this just objectively from my point of view. I feel like he's just like he doesn't have that like grit and that will, like when he's kind of hitting it or scraping it around for that 6 or 9 hole stretch during a 72 hole event. I feel like he just makes 6 bogeys and he doesn't really care. You know, like he doesn't work his ass off to make sure those are 6 that he gets that through that stretch and even. Because like he made 17 birdies this week at the Open Championship and finished even. You know, like I feel like he doesn't have that like, you know, that mental kind of mode or factor, whatever it is right now, to find a way to get it in the hole when you're not flushing it. You know, like there's something to that on the PGA Tour where, especially come majors, where you got to find a way to get the ball in the hole for the 6 to 12 hole stretch where you don't flush it and you're a little bit off, but you know, like you can, you know, like Spieth right now, right? Like he finds a way to make par a lot and like it keeps momentum going. We talked about Morikawa when he won, like found a way to not make a bogey on Sunday to never lose momentum. Feels like Rory starts momentum and shatters it every single time, right? Like any tournament he plays in now, either he derails himself from the beginning or if he's going, all of a sudden 4 bogeys in 6 holes, like what the fuck, you know, like, and I just feel like that comes from a place of like, and he has every right to be, right? Like he's just kind of comfortable and like he kind of earned that right for being a megastar the last 10 years, right? Like he probably likes being a little, you know, like he'll never be out of the spotlight, but who can blame him for being comfortable with like 6, you know, probably a couple $100 million in your bank account and a family that just started and, you know, it hasn't totally fallen apart. Like it's not to the level I'm sure he wants it where he's winning, but still plays solid golf, you know, like he's not like not embarrassing.
I'm not saying that he doesn't, and he's going to continue, and I'm going to continue enjoying to watch him. But yeah,
this week was the first week that I never bought in. Like I think Saturday morning I looked at the phone, he was like 5 under through 9, and like kind of climbed up the leaderboard. I was like, didn't even phase me. And it's kind of sad because usually I'd be like, holy fuck, here we go. Like, let's do it. Like Rory come in, like, let's get it. Like, I just don't think it's there. I don't think he cares enough. I mean, I'm sure he cares, but.
Well, yeah, but it's just
not enough to win majors, I should say. There's a mindset to it.
Yep. But anywho, so that I think that's what we got for tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we went on some pretty awesome rants tonight, and I know
PGA
we're gonna have
Championship got slandered today.
Well, hey, for our listeners out there, let us know what you guys want to see with the PGA, and we're gonna write a formal email. I don't know who the commissioner of the PGA is at this point, or the.
I should probably know that.
I mean, is Susie Whaley the head of the PGA now?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll hand deliver it to her wherever is she from? I think she lives in Wethersfield now, but I'll hand deliver it down there, our nice note. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about the PGA and kind of some of these other majors. If you think we're way off on some of these takes on what we thought the best major of the year was, let us know kind of what you guys think are the best moments of the year and kind of what's ingrained in your mind. I don't know what that was for people watching the YouTube. I don't know what Joey just made. Joey just made himself a reference or some sort of hand motion that is not appropriate for TV. So we're gonna have to put an explicit on this recording here. But yeah, boys, always good seeing you and good chatting. And we got a fun week after 3M. We got the Olympics. We got the Ryder Cup coming up here in the fall. We got the FedEx Cup. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. See you, boys. Cheers.